This is Whispers of the Universe. Let the world slow down around you. Tonight we drift together into the endless river of time. Close your eyes and imagine the surface of still water. For a moment it is silent, as if nothing has begun. Then a single drop falls. The first ripple expands, circling outward, touching everything it meets. This is how time begins for us quietly, almost unnoticed, yet already carrying us forward. Time is not a clock, not a number, not even a measure. It is the pulse of the universe, the breath of stars, the soft current beneath our own lives. It is a ripple that never ends. Think of your first memory, a shadow in childhood, a fragment of light in a room, a voice calling your name. That moment is still flowing in you, a ripple that never ceased, only widened. It touched the next moment, and the next, and now it is here still alive, though years have passed. Time does not vanish. It expands like water circles, spreading across a boundless lake. When we look at the night sky, we are always looking back. The light of stars has traveled for thousands, millions, even billions of years. By the time it touches your eyes entire, civilizations might have risen and fallen. Yet in that instant, you and the star are connected. The ripple of its light born long ago now completes its journey in you. Time then is not only passing, it is arriving, always arriving. Feel how your own breath is part of this current. Each inhale is a beginning, each exhale a release. The body remembers what the mind forgets, that you are carried forward whether you resist or surrender. The ripple does not ask your permission, it only flows. Sometimes we try to capture it. We hold onto photographs, we carve lines into calendars, we count the ticks of clocks. But these are only shadows of the real river. You cannot hold water in your fist. You cannot ask a ripple to stop moving. To live inside time is to drift, and to drift is to trust. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast river at dawn. The mist rises, the current is slow, yet unstoppable. You toss a pebble into the surface. The circles widen, overlapping with the hidden rhythm of the flow. So too are your choices. Every word, every glance, every thought is a pebble cast into the river. The ripples merge, shaping currents you will never fully see. Do you remember the last time you lost track of time? Maybe you were listening to music, or walking under trees, or speaking with someone you love. In those moments, time does not disappear. It simply softens, becomes transparent like water, so clear you forget it is there. Yet it still carries you onward. Even when unnoticed, it never stops. There is a secret in the first ripple. It tells us that time is not linear. It does not move only forward like an arrow. It moves in waves, touching the past, the present, and the future all at once. The memory of yesterday can stir your heart today, changing the shape of tomorrow. The ripple bends, folds, reflects. In this way, we live in more than one moment. Consider how every heartbeat you feel is both ancient and new. The rhythm of your heart echoes patterns older than the stars, passed down from ancestors across millennia. And yet this particular beat right now has never existed before. It is both a return and a creation. Time is not repetition, but renewal. The first ripple never ends, it multiplies. It carries stories, laughter, grief, love. It touches the shore of every life you meet, then continues beyond. Perhaps that is why we long for eternity, not because we fear endings, but because we sense that the ripple has no true boundary. Think of all the moments that brought you here tonight, moments you remember and others you have forgotten. They are all inside you, still weaving together like threads in water. If you close your eyes, you may feel them. The child you once were, the friends who walked beside you, the places that shaped you. They are not gone. They are moving outward, rippling across the endless surface. And one day your ripple will join the great current. The river does not end when it reaches the sea. It becomes something larger, something that cannot be contained. In that vastness, no ripple is ever lost. Each is transformed, merged into the infinite. So tonight, let us drift with the first ripple. Let us surrender the need to measure, to hold, to control. Let the circles widen. Let them carry you. Let them remind you that you are already part of the river that never stops. This is the whisper of time. This is the ripple you have always been. The river of time has no voice, yet it speaks. Its current is silent, yet it carries everything. Close your eyes and listen not with your ears, but with your whole being. What you feel is the silent current flowing through every heartbeat, every breath, every hidden corner of existence. Silence is not emptiness, it is presence without sound. Time is like this too. It moves without announcing itself, without fanfare, without demand. It simply flows. Imagine standing by a river in the early dawn. The water glides past stones and roots smooth and steady. You hear the wind, the birds, maybe the rustle of trees, but not the river itself. Its movement is so constant, so subtle, that it disappears into the background of your awareness. Time is the same. It slips past us, not with thunder, but with stillness. Consider how days turn into weeks. Do you remember the exact sound of the moment a week became another? Do you recall the hour when one year dissolved into the next? Often. We mark it with celebrations, with fireworks, with noise. But the true passage was soundless, hidden beneath our attempts to notice. The silent current never pauses, never waits for us to pay attention. Sometimes silence feels heavy. When waiting for news, when standing in uncertainty, every second seems louder than thunder. But that sound is inside us, not in time itself. Time itself remains calm, indifferent, flowing forward like a river that knows no hesitation. Think of the way shadows lengthen in the afternoon. No one hears them stretching. The movement is too slow, too gentle to make a sound. Yet by evening, the world is changed. This is the nature of the silent current, invisible, inevitable. We live inside it as fish live inside water. A fish does not hear the river move. It only feels the resistance, the pressure, the flow against its body. So too do we experience time. We do not hear it. We only feel its touch as change. The lines on a face, the growth of a tree, the fading of a memory. These are the ripples against us, the pressure of the silent current. What happens when we try to resist? When a fish swims against the current, it grows tired, its body straining. When we resist a time, clinging to youth, holding to moments, denying change, we too grow weary. The current is patient. It does not fight us. It simply continues until we are carried despite ourselves. The silence of time is not cruel, though it can feel that way. It allows space for us to breathe, to choose to wonder. Noise would overwhelm. If every second shouted its passing, we would drown in chaos. Instead, time is mercifully quiet. It lets us imagine that we are still even as we move. Sometimes, in rare moments, we catch a glimpse of its silence directly. A winter morning when snow muffles every sound. A midnight walk when the world is asleep. A pause between two heartbeats when you are fully aware. In these moments, the silent current reveals itself not as absence, but as gentle presence, carrying you with tenderness. Think of the stars again. Their light travels in silence across the void. No sound bridges the vacuum, and yet billions of years later, their message arrives unchanged. The silent current of time is vast, unbroken, connecting you to galaxies far beyond imagination. Every starlight in your eyes is a whisper of that current. What does it mean to trust the silent current? It means letting go of the need to control every outcome. It means allowing yourself to rest in the knowledge that even without effort, you are moving forward. You are part of the flow. The silent current carries you, whether you struggle or surrender. Perhaps this is why stillness is so healing. When you sit quietly, when you breathe slowly, you are aligning yourself with the rhythm of time. You are no longer fighting the current, you are floating with it. The world becomes less heavy. The silence, instead of frightening, becomes a companion. Every life has moments of storm, of turbulence, of noise, but underneath the silent current is always steady. It is the hidden foundation, the endless hum, the quiet hand that holds us. Without it, nothing could continue. Because of it, everything does. Imagine once more the river in dawn light. Its surface may appear still, but beneath the water is alive. This is how time moves through us. On the surface, we see days, calendars, years. Beneath, we are carried by something deeper, constant, unspoken. Tonight, as you drift into rest, feel that current. It is under your breath and your pulse, in the weight of your body on the bed. You do not need to chase it. You do not need to fear it. It is already holding you. It is already carrying you into tomorrow and the day after and all the days beyond. The silent current does not need to be heard. It only needs to be trusted. Close your eyes and surrender. You are safe. You are floating. You are carried. The river flows, and on its shore, shadows stretch and fade. They appear for a moment dark, yet gentle, and then they dissolve, leaving only the memory of their outline. So too are our days, brief imprints of light and darkness resting upon the banks of time. Every morning the sun rises, and with it, shadows are born. They are faithful companions, moving with us, shifting in silence, changing their shape as the light changes. By evening, they grow long, thin, almost fragile, as if preparing to vanish. By night, they are gone. This is the rhythm of shadows, and it mirrors the rhythm of memory. Think of your own life, the way moments appear and disappear. A child's laughter once filled a room, yet now it echoes only in recollection. A familiar street once felt an endless, yet now it exists only as a shadow in your mind. Like footprints in sand, time washes them away, but the shape lingers faint, persistent. What is a shadow if not proof of light? What is memory if not proof of living? Even as they fade, they tell us that something once was, something touched us, something stood by our side. Shadows do not lie. They are quiet witnesses of our journey. On the shore of the river, shadows reveal the passing of the sun. In our hearts, shadows reveal the passing of time. Both are fleeting, yet both are essential. Without shadows, there is no depth. Without memory, there is no story. Perhaps this is why we hold so tightly to photographs, journals, keepsakes. They are our attempts to hold a shadow still, to press it into permanence. But shadows are not meant to be trapped. They are meant to drift, to fade, to transform. To love them is to let them go. Do you remember the shadow of someone you once loved? The way their presence fell across your days, shaping the way you moved, the way you felt even if they are gone. The shadow remains. It does not disappear, it only softens, becomes part of the background of your being. This is how time works. It does not erase it, integrates. Look at the shoreline itself. It is marked by waves that come and go, each leaving a trace, then pulling it back. The sand is never the same, yet it always remains a shore. So too is memory, always changing, always returning, never fully gone. The river cannot stop flowing, and shadows cannot stop lengthening. Together they remind us that impermanence is not loss. It is the texture of existence. A world without shadows would be flat, unreal. A life without memory would be hollow. There is a certain beauty in watching shadows fade. It teaches us gentleness. It tells us that endings need not be violent. They can be soft, natural, woven into the rhythm of the day. The sunset does not scream, it sighs, and the world becomes quiet in its embrace. When we remember those who are gone, it is like seeing their shadow on the shore. Not the full figure, not the full light, but a trace enough to remind us they were real, enough to remind us we were touched, changed, shaped. Shadows are love surviving time, and yet we often fear them. We think of shadows as symbols of loss, of emptiness, of what we no longer have. But shadows are not absence. They are presence in another form. They are the echo of the sun, the echo of connection. They whisper this too was part of you. Imagine yourself walking by the river at dusk. The water is glowing with the last light of day. Your shadow stretches beside you longer than your body, fragile as smoke. It does not scare you, it simply is. You walk and it walks. You stop and it rests. For a brief time, you are not alone. You are accompanied by your own echo. Time gives us these companions, though they cannot stay. It gives us memories, though they will fade. It gives us love, though it must transform. This is not cruelty. It is the way of the river, the way of the shore, the way of shadows. What would it mean to walk without a shadow? It would mean there is no light. What would it mean to live without memory? It would mean there is no life. So we accept the shadows even as they lengthen, even as they fade. We accept memory even as it softens, even as it slips into the background. And in acceptance, there is peace. When you look at the shore, do not grieve for the shadows that are gone. Smile for the light that created them. When you remember what you have lost, do not despair at its fading. Breathe with gratitude that it was once part of you. The river flows on. The sun rises and sets. The shadows appear, stretch, and vanish, but in the rhythm of their coming and going, something eternal is revealed, the continuity of time. What fades returns in another form. What disappears is never wholly gone. Tonight, as you drift toward rest, let the shadows on the shore be your teachers. Let them remind you that impermanence is beauty. Let them show you that fading is not failure. It is simply the way light and time embrace. And as your eyes grow heavy, remember you too are a shadow upon the shore, a brief, beautiful shape cast by the light of existence. You will fade as all do, but the light that made you will remain. And somewhere, someone will remember your shadow long after it has melted into night. A river is never empty of stones. Along its bed lie countless pebbles, small and silent, shaped by years of water passing. Each one has been touched, softened, transformed. Moments are like these pebbles, countless, quiet, waiting to be noticed. Every day of your life drops another stone into the current. Some are small and smooth, hardly felt. Some are sharp, cutting, unforgettable. Some glitter in the sun, bright as jewels. Others sink deep, hidden in the dark, yet still part of the river's body. Together they create the shape of your journey. Think back to a single day in your past. Perhaps nothing remarkable happened. You woke, you moved, you spoke, you slept. And yet that day was a pebble placed in the current. It joined the others, adding weight, adding texture. You may not remember it now, but it remains part of the invisible foundation beneath you. Not all moments are grand. Most are ordinary. A sip of water, a passing smile, a single step on a quiet road. But rivers are not built from waterfalls alone. They are shaped by the constant fall of rain, the quiet persistence of streams. So too is your life. The extraordinary rests upon countless ordinary pebbles. Imagine picking up a pebble from the shore. It fits in your palm, small, unassuming. Yet within it is the story of ages, the pressure of earth, the fire of its birth, the erosion of winds, the polishing of water. What seems simple is vast. So too is a moment. A single conversation, a fleeting glance can carry generations of meaning, unseen but present. Sometimes we treat moments carelessly. We rush past them seeking larger events, greater victories, louder joys. But when we look back, it is often the smallest pebbles we remember most clearly. The quiet dinner with someone we love, the way light fell on a wall one afternoon, the feeling of holding a hand in silence. These are the true treasures, the smooth stones we keep close to the heart. Other times, moments cut us. They are jagged pebbles sharp against the skin. the words we wish we could take back, the silence we wish had been broken, the goodbye that came too soon. We carry these too, though they weigh heavier, but even sharp stones are softened by the current. Given time, even the hardest pain becomes rounder, gentler, easier to hold. The river does not reject any pebble. It carries them all, smoothing, reshaping, transforming. So too does life carry every moment, even the ones we resist. We may try to throw them away to forget to bury, but they remain part of the stream until time itself softens them. Think of the moments you have forgotten. Thousands, millions, perhaps more. They are not gone. They are lying quietly in the riverbed. When the current shifts, when memory stirs, they sometimes rise again, shining for a brief instant before settling once more. This is why an old scent can bring tears, why a melody can transport you decades back. The pebble was always there, waiting to be touched again. And what of the pebbles you have yet to place? Each day ahead carries its own stone, ready to be dropped into the current. You cannot know its shape yet, whether smooth or sharp, heavy or light. But you know it will be part of you, part of your river. Every tomorrow waits as a pebble unformed. There is humility in recognizing this. Life is not measured only by great monuments, but by the small stones beneath our feet. Every second is a gift, every breath a pebble falling into the stream. We do not notice most of them, but without them, the river could not flow. When you walk along a riverbank, you may see children picking up pebbles, throwing them across the surface, watching them skip. Each skip is a moment lifted, multiplied, echoed. So too are the moments we share with others. A word of kindness may skip across years, reaching hearts far beyond what we imagine. A gesture of love may ripple long after we are gone. No pebble is insignificant, and yet there is no need to hold them all. You cannot carry every stone in your hands. The river teaches us to let them rest, to let them belong where they are. To cling is to tire, to release is to trust. The river remembers even when we do not. So tonight, as you lie in silence, think of the countless pebbles that form your life. The ones you cherish, the ones you avoid, the ones you do not even recall. All of them are yours. All of them have shaped the current that carries you now. And as you drift towards sleep, imagine dropping another pebble into the stream. A soft one, smooth light filled with peace. It lands, it ripples, it joins the rest. Tomorrow will place another, and the river will grow. This is the quiet beauty of time. It gathers everything, and it wastes nothing. You are the keeper of pebbles, though you may never count them. You are the riverbed, holding all the shapes of your days. And as long as the current flows, none of your moments are ever truly lost. Close your eyes, feel the weight of today resting gently. It is just one pebble added to the countless others. It belongs. You belong. And the river carries on. The river remembers. Even when the surface appears calm, even when the waves seem to pass without leaving a trace, the water carries everything it has touched. Every pebble that has fallen, every leaf that has drifted, every drop of rain that has joined none of it is lost. It flows onward, becoming part of the current woven into the memory of the river. Time remembers too. Every laugh, every tear, every breath you have ever taken has been carried forward. You may forget, but time does not. It holds everything in its current, folding it into the great stream of existence. Think of a moment long ago. Perhaps you have forgotten the details, the colors, the sounds, the exact words spoken, but the moment remains. It shaped you even if you no longer recall how. It entered the current, and the current carried it, mixing it with all the other days and nights that followed. The river remembers what you cannot. Memory is not only in the mind, it lives in the body, in the rhythm of your heart, in the patterns of your breath. Your hands know the motions taught by years of repetition. Your eyes recognize faces even before your thoughts do. The river of your being carries memories deeper than words. The earth remembers too. The soil holds the bones of ancestors. The air carries whispers of ancient forests. The stones beneath your feet once felt the fire of creation. Nothing is ever truly erased. It only changes form, moving from one state to another, like water shifting from rain to river to sea. When you place your hand in a river, you may feel only the cool touch of water, but in that touch is the memory of mountains, the story of clouds, the weight of countless journeys. The river remembers where it has been. It carries the sky, the earth, the hidden roots of trees. So too does time carry you. Sometimes memories rise to the surface, suddenly, like driftwood lifted by a wave. A scent, a sound, a fleeting image, and you are transported back. You may not even understand why, but the river remembers, and for a moment it lets you glimpse what still flows within it. Not all memories are gentle. Some are heavy, dark, painful. The river carries them too because it does not choose. It does not judge what enters its current. It holds everything patiently until time itself transforms them. What was once sharp may be softened. What was once unbearable may over years be carried further downstream where it no longer hurts so deeply. There is a strange comfort in this. You do not need to hold everything tightly. The river remembers for you. You can release what weighs you down and know that it is not gone. It is simply carried. It becomes part of something larger than yourself. Imagine standing on a bridge, watching the river flow beneath you. The surface looks simple, but beneath countless stories move together. Leaves, stones, fish reflections, all part of the current, all carried onward. This is memory in its truest form, not a single line, but a weaving of countless threads into one endless stream. Even the stars remember. Light is memory traveling across the cosmos. When you see a star, you are seeing a memory of its past, a story written in photons, crossing unimaginable distances to reach you. The universe itself is a river of memory, every particle carrying echoes of where it has been. Perhaps this is why we long to be remembered. Not for fame, not for glory, but for the reassurance that our ripple will not vanish. We want to know that when we drop into the current, the river will carry us forward. And it does, Every act of kindness, every word spoken, every silent gesture becomes part of the flow. The river remembers even when others forget. Close your eyes and think of someone you once loved, someone no longer here. Though their voice is silent, their memory flows in you. They shaped your current. They left pebbles, ripples, shadows, all of which remain. The river remembers them through you, and you carry them forward. This is why remembrance is sacred. To remember is not just to recall it, is to honor the current, to recognize that nothing is wasted. The river does not forget. Time does not forget, and neither do we even when our minds let go. Tonight, as you rest, let yourself be carried by this truth. You do not need to grasp every moment. You do not need to fear forgetting. The river remembers. It has always remembered, and in its endless flow you are safe, even when your shadow fades, even when your name is no longer spoken. The current will still carry your story. Your ripple will join countless others. Your pebble will rest among infinite stones, and the river will remember forever. The river is always here, flowing in this very moment, not in the past, not in the future, but in the present. The present is not a fixed point, not a single grain of sand on a vast shore. It is the current itself, always moving, always changing, yet always now. We often think of the present as fragile, like a bubble that bursts the instant we notice it. But in truth, it is endless. Every breath you take is the present. Every heartbeat is the present. Every blink of your eyes opens again to the present. It does not vanish, it simply continues. The past is memory, the future is possibility, but the present is reality. It is the only place where life can actually be lived. You cannot touch yesterday. It has already dissolved into shadows. You cannot hold tomorrow. It has not yet arrived. But this moment right now what's in your hands. It flows through your lungs, your pulse, your gaze. Think of standing in a river. You cannot step into the same water twice, for it is always moving, and yet you are always in the river. The present is like this, never the same, yet always here. You may long for what is gone. You may fear what is to come, but the current reminds you you are already inside it. There is no need to chase. Sometimes the present feels too small, too fleeting. We rush through it, glancing toward the horizon, waiting for the next chapter, the next answer, the next door to open. But the river does not rush ahead to meet the sea. It flows at its own pace, carrying each drop with care. The present asks us to do the same, to trust that being here is enough. Imagine sipping a cup of tea. Steam rises, warmth spreads through your hands. In that small act, you are connected to everything. The soil where the leaves grew, the rain that nourished them, the sun that ripened them, the hands that picked and carried them. All of that converges in a single sip, a present moment. How vast, how infinite the present becomes when we see it clearly. The mind often wanders. It drifts backward into regrets, forward into worries. Like a fish leaping above the surface, it leaves the river of now only to fall back again. And every time, the current welcomes it. The present does not punish distraction. It simply waits, always here, always flowing. There is freedom in this. No matter how far you wander in thought, you can return instantly by breathing, by feeling your feet on the ground, your chest rising and falling, your eyes blinking. The present is patient. It does not close its gates. It simply flows, inviting you back again and again. Think of music. A song is built from notes one after another, but you can only hear one note at a time. The beauty of the melody exists only because of the present note, joined with memory and anticipation. So too is life a song unfolding in the river of time. You cannot live all the notes at once. You can only listen now to the note being played. Perhaps this is why children laugh so freely. They live closer to the present than adults do. A butterfly lands, and their entire world is that butterfly. Rain falls, and they are entirely inside the rain. They do not rush to compare it to yesterday's rain or tomorrow's sky. They simply are. The river of now carries them without resistance. With age, we often forget this gift. We measure, we plan, we calculate. These are useful, but they can make us miss the water already touching our skin. We stand in the river and dream of the ocean, forgetting that the present is already vast. The present flow is not only gentle, it can also be powerful. In moments of danger, of beauty, of deep love, time seems to stop. The present expands, filling every corner of awareness. This is the true strength of now. It is elastic, capable of holding more than we think possible. Seconds can feel like hours. Hours can pass in a heartbeat. But all of it is still the present. Science, too, tells us this. The present is not a universal slice, the same for all. Time bends with speed, with gravity, with distance. What is now for you may not be now for a star across the galaxy. And yet, for each, the present is all there is. Reality is always this flow, immediate and intimate. There is peace in knowing this. You do not need to solve yesterday. You do not need to control tomorrow. You only need to return again and again to the flow that carries you. It is enough. It is more than enough. Tonight, as you rest, let yourself sink into the present flow. Feel the mattress beneath you, the weight of your body, the softness of your breath. These are not small things. They are the river itself reminding you that you are alive, that you are carried, that you belong to now. The present is not fragile. It is eternal. It stretches without end because there is only ever this moment unfolding again and again. The river has no past or future. It only has the water flowing now. So too do you. Close your eyes, release yesterday, release tomorrow. Let the present flow carry you. It is quiet. It is endless. It is here. Waiting is its own kind of river. It has a current, but the flow is slow, almost invisible. When we wait, time does not stop, it deepens. Each second stretches thick as honey, heavy as stone, until the weight of it presses against us. We have all felt this. The endless hours before news arrives. The moments sitting by a window watching the horizon for someone to return. The days counting down before an answer that might change everything. Waiting makes time louder. It turns silence into thunder, stillness into a storm. Why does waiting feel so heavy? Because it ties us to what has not yet come. Our thoughts run forward, reaching for tomorrow, while our bodies remain in the now. The river continues to flow, but we feel trapped on its shore, unable to follow. The tension between where we are and where we long to be is what creates the depth. Imagine dropping a stone into a still pond. The ripples move outward slowly, carefully, taking their time. So is waiting a ripple that refuses to be rushed. We watch, we hope, we ache, but the water will not move faster for us. The current has its own pace. Sometimes waiting feels like drowning. Every breath is a reminder of absence, of distance, of longing. We feel helpless, like driftwood stuck in a backwater, watching the main current pass us by. But even then, the river is moving. Even then, life is carrying us, though we may not see it. Consider a seed buried in soil. To the eye, nothing happens. Day after day, the ground looks the same, empty, silent. But beneath, roots are forming. Life is preparing, change is on its way. Waiting is like this. It hides movement beneath stillness. It asks us to trust what we cannot yet see. There is a strange wisdom in waiting. It teaches patience, but also surrender. It reminds us that not all things are ours to command. The river does not bend to our urgency. It flows at its rhythm, carrying us where we need to go in its own time. Think of waiting for dawn. No matter how much you wish the sun will not rise a second earlier, you can pace, you can plead, you can stare at the horizon until your eyes ache. Still, the darkness lasts until the moment it is ready to open. And yet, dawn always comes. The waiting is not endless, it is simply deep. Sometimes the depth of waiting reveals who we are. In stillness, our thoughts surface. Our fears, our hopes, our hidden desires, they rise like fish breaking the surface of the water. We see ourselves more clearly because there is nothing to distract us. This is why waiting can be uncomfortable. It is not only about what we long for, it is about what we find in ourselves while we wait. And yet there can be beauty in this depth. Think of the silence in a gallery before a painting. Think of the hush in a theater before the curtain rises. Think of the breath before music begins. Waiting holds potential, a charged quiet, like the river gathering strength before a waterfall. It is not empty, it is full. The depth of waiting can be shared too. Two people sitting together in silence, hands touching, eyes on the same horizon. They may say nothing, but in their shared waiting, there is intimacy. Their hearts beat in the same rhythm, their breaths align with the same current. Waiting can be lonely, but it can also be connection. What is it you are waiting for now? A word of love, an answer to a question, a change in your life. Perhaps the waiting feels unbearable, but remember the river is moving even here. Every second is carrying you closer, though you cannot yet see the bend ahead. And sometimes, when what we wait for never comes, the waiting itself becomes the lesson. It teaches us resilience, the ability to stand still while time flows around us. It teaches us humility, the truth that not all things arrive when we demand. And it teaches us trust, the quiet faith that even if one door remains closed, another path is opening. Waiting is not wasted. It is part of the river, part of the journey. It deepens us, softens us, prepares us. Without it, we would not learn to listen. Without it, we would not feel the richness of arrival. Joy tastes sweeter after waiting. Reunion feels deeper after longing. Tonight, as you lie in silence, feel the depth of your own waiting. Do not fight it. Do not rush it. Let it be water holding you still. Let it be a reminder that life is working beneath the surface, even when unseen. The river of waiting is not your enemy. It is part of time's embrace. It holds you in its depth until the current is ready to carry you forward again. And when it does, you will rise lighter, freer, more alive. So close your eyes. Release the tension. Let the depth of waiting cradle you. Trust that the dawn is already on its way. Trust that the river knows where to go. Trust that in the silence you are being carried. The depth of waiting is not emptiness. It is preparation. It is promise. It is love in disguise. The river of time is not only a straight current. It swells and retreats like tides rising and falling with the rhythm of the seasons. Spring, summer, autumn, winter, each arrives, each departs, yet all return again. The cycle is endless, a heartbeat of the earth, a tide that never ceases. We live inside these tides. They shape our days, our moods, our memories. Even if we do not notice, the seasons breathe through us. The smell of blossoms, the heat of sun, the falling of leaves, the hush of snow, all of these are tides in which we are carried. Spring is the first tide, the surge of beginning. It is the bud breaking open the river rising with melted snow. It is the whisper of possibility, the tremble of life stretching itself awake. In springtime feels new again, like the first ripple reborn. Every green leaf is a reminder that nothing ends it, only transforms. Summer is the tide of fullness. It is the long day heavy with light, the river swelling wide and strong. It is laughter in fields, warmth on skin, the abundance of fruit and fire. Time in summer feels generous, endless, as if days could stretch forever. And yet beneath the brightness, the tide is already turning. The sun begins its slow retreat, reminding us that no tide holds forever. Autumn is the tide of release. Leaves loosen, winds rise, the air sharpens. It is the golden hour of the year, a beauty made from endings. The river runs calmer, carrying fallen leaves, reflecting skies of deeper blue. Time in autumn feels tender, bittersweet, like memory itself. It whispers that letting go is not loss, but part of the rhythm of return. Winter is the tide of stillness. The river slows, sometimes freezes, yet beneath the ice, water still flows. It is the season of silence, of breath, held of waiting for light to return. Time in winter feels deep, heavy, ancient, as if the earth itself is resting. But even in its stillness, the tide is not gone. It is gathering, preparing, waiting to rise again. These tides of seasons are not only in nature, they live within us too. We have springs of beginning when energy surges and we bloom. We have summers of fullness When life feels abundant and strong, we have autumns of release. When we let go, when we learn the beauty of endings. We have winters of stillness when we rest, when we wait, when we trust renewal will come. Our lives are rivers, and our hearts carry the tides of the year. Think of your own seasons. What was your spring when you first awoke to possibility? What was your summer when everything felt wide and bright? What was your autumn when you learned to release? What was your winter when you withdrew only to rise again? The tides are not outside of you. They move within your breath, your choices, your story. Science too knows these tides, the tilt of Earth, the dance of planets, the pull of the sun, all create the rhythm of seasons. It is not magic yet. It feels like magic because it touches every life, every river, every beating heart. Birds migrate with it. Trees follow it. Even oceans bow to it. The great tide of the year holds us all. And yet, though it repeats, it is never the same. This spring is not last spring. This winter is not long winter. The river returns, but the water is new, so it is with us. We may circle, we may repeat, but each return is different. Each tide carries us forward, even as it feels familiar. The tides of seasons teach us patience. They show us that nothing blooms all year. The tree does not despair when it loses its leaves. It trusts spring will come again. The river does not mourn when it freezes. It knows the thaw is certain. So too we must trust our own tides, our own cycles of growth and rest, of rising and falling, of light and dark. There is wisdom in moving with the seasons instead of against them. To plant in spring, to celebrate in summer, to release in autumn, to rest in winter. Life feels more natural, more gentle, when we follow the rhythm instead of resisting it. The tides do not fight themselves. They flow, they turn, they return. Perhaps this is why certain memories are tied to seasons. We remember summers of laughter, winters of longing, autumn walks beneath falling leaves, springs of first love. The season itself becomes part of the memory, inseparable from it, because the tides of the earth are also the tides of our hearts. They move together. Close your eyes and imagine the year as a river flowing in circles. It rises, it falls, it slows, it swells, and you too rise and fall with it. Your breath is spring, your heartbeat is summer, your silence is winter, your release is autumn. You are not separate from the seasons, you are the season, you are the tide, you are the river. Tonight let the tides of seasons hold you. Let them remind you that nothing is permanent, but nothing is wasted. What falls returns. What sleeps awakens. What ends begins again. The river flows, the seasons turn, and time continues. And in their rhythm you find peace. You find belonging. You find yourself carried endlessly in the tides of the seasons. The river remembers. It may look like water flowing and vanishing, yet nothing is ever truly lost. Every drop carries a story. Every curve of the current holds echoes of what has passed. When rain falls from the sky, the river remembers the clouds. When snow melts on mountains, the river remembers the winter. When leaves drop into its flow, the river remembers the trees. And when you place your hand in the water, it remembers you too, holding the trace of your warmth for just a moment before carrying it forward. Time works in the same way. We often think the past has disappeared, that it has dissolved into nothing. But it has not. It flows within us, beneath us, around us. The river of time holds every word spoken, every silence kept, every glance exchanged. Even when we forget, time does not. Consider how the earth remembers. The stones carry the weight of ages. The rings inside trees are records of each year written silently in wood. The air itself remembers traces of breaths, of fires, of songs drift unseen across centuries. Nothing vanishes, it all becomes part of the current. Your own body remembers more than your mind does. Your hands know how to write without thinking of each letter. Your feet remember paths walked long ago. Your heart remembers rhythms of love and loss, even when you cannot explain why a song makes you weep. The river of memory flows through your veins as surely as it flows through mountains and seas. Sometimes memories rise suddenly, like driftwood surfacing after years beneath the water. You catch a scent, and instantly you are a child again. You hear a song, and you are standing in a room long vanished. A voice calls your name, and it echoes with the voices of everyone who ever loved you. The river remembers, and through it, so do you. Not all memories are gentle. Some are heavy, sharp, dark. But the river does not discard them. It carries them patiently, softening their edges, smoothing their weight. Over time, what once cut like glass becomes rounder, quieter, easier to hold. This is the mercy of time. It remembers, but it also transforms. Think of grief. In the beginning, it is a storm, fierce and overwhelming. But as years flow, the grief does not vanish. It becomes part of the current, deep and steady. It changes from a crashing wave into a quiet undercurrent, always there, but bearable. The river remembers your sorrow, but it teaches you how to carry it. The same is true for joy. Moments of laughter, of warmth, of love. They may fade from the surface, but they sink deep into the flow. You may not think of them often, but they move beneath you, shaping the way you smile, the way you open your heart, the way you hope. Joy is never wasted. The river remembers it too. And what of those who have gone before us? They are not gone completely. Their stories ripple through us. Their choices shape our world. The river remembers them in the soil, in the air, in our very blood. Each of us carries the memory of countless lives, stretching back beyond measure. We are not isolated drops. We are part of a current that began long before us and will continue long after. Perhaps this is why we long to be remembered. We fear being forgotten, disappearing into silence. But the truth is, the river never forgets. Even if no one speaks your name, time holds it. Even if no one recalls your face, the current carries its outline. Even if every trace seems gone, the river has already woven you into itself. Imagine standing by a riverbank, watching water slide past. It looks smooth, but you know within it are countless hidden threads. Sand, silt, roots, reflections. So too is memory, not visible at first, but present in every movement. The river does not erase, it carries. Tonight, let yourself rest in this truth. You do not need to hold everything. The river remembers for you. You can release the burden of grasping every detail, every story, every fear of forgetting. What matters is already held. What you cannot carry, the river will. And when your own life has flowed into the sea of infinity, the river will still remember you, not as a single moment, but as a part of its endless song. You are not lost. You are carried. You are remembered. The river remembers. And because it does, you can rest. The river flows between two shores, the past and the present, and across it stretches a bridge, a fragile, invisible bridge built from memory. We walk upon it every day, crossing from what was into what is carrying pieces of ourselves like lanterns in the dark. Memory is not only recall, it is a connection. It ties us to who we were, to what we have lived, to the people who shaped us. Without memory, each day would be an island cut off from the others. But with memory, time becomes a river we can cross again and again. Think of your earliest memory. Perhaps it is blurred, soft, uncertain, yet it still links you to a self you no longer are. You have crossed the bridge to meet that child again, if only for a moment. The bridge does not erase distance, but it allows a connection. It lets us whisper across years, I remember you. You are still part of me. The bridge of memory is built not of stone or wood, but of echoes. Laughter that once rang in a room. The scent of bread baking in a childhood kitchen. The touch of a hand now long absent. Each of these is a plank in the bridge steady enough to carry us across. Sometimes the bridge is strong. We walk it with confidence, recalling names, faces, places, as if they were yesterday. Other times it is fragile. The boards creak, the gaps widen, and we struggle to cross. Yet even then, the bridge exists, however faint. Even the faintest memory is a connection across the waters of time. Consider how societies build bridges of memory. Stories pass down, songs sung across generations, monuments carved in stone. Through them, the living cross to meet the dead, the present shakes hands with the past. Without such bridges, we would lose ourselves adrift in the river without direction. Your own family is a bridge too. The words your parents spoke, the traditions carried in your home, the stories of ancestors you may never have met. All of these are planks beneath your feet. When you remember, you honor not just yourself, but all those who walked before you. The bridge is not yours alone. It is shared, collective, eternal. And yet memory is not perfect. Sometimes the bridge bends. Details blur, faces fade. Conversations change in the retelling. This does not make the bridge false. It only shows that the bridge is alive, growing and shifting like the river itself. Memory is less about accuracy than about connection. What matters is not whether every stone is in place, but whether the bridge carries us across. There are times when the bridge collapses, illness, loss, forgetting. A name disappears, a face is gone, a lifetime slips into shadow. It is painful, like standing on one shore and no longer seeing the way across. Yet even then, the river remembers. Even if your own bridge falters, others may carry it for you. Those who love you will hold your story, keeping the bridge standing in their hearts. Think of how often we walk this bridge without realizing it. Every time you recognize a melody you are crossing, every time you recall a taste, a smell, a phrase you are walking between shores. Even dreams sometimes take us there, weaving memories into the fabric of sleep. The bridge is always open even when we are not aware. Sometimes crossing the bridge is sweet. We smile at the memory warmed by its light. Other times it is painful. We return to places we wish we could change, to words we wish we had never spoken. But both kinds of crossing are necessary. They remind us that we are whole, not fragments. We are the sum of every step across the bridge. Science tells us that memory is not stored in a single place. It is spread across the brain like constellations in the sky. Each star is small, but together they form shapes we recognize. So too does the bridge appear made of scattered lights that when joined carry us home. There is wonder in this fragility, that something so intangible can carry so much weight, that something invisible can hold the shape of an entire life. The bridge of memory may not be made of stone, but it is stronger than time itself, because as long as it exists, the past is never truly gone. Tonight, think of a memory that comforts you. Step onto the bridge, feel its planks beneath your feet. Cross slowly, gently, until you meet the version of yourself who lived that moment. Hold their hand. Tell them, I have not forgotten. You are part of me still. And when you return, know this every day. You are both the builder and the traveler of this bridge. Every smile you share, every kindness you offer, every word you speak is another plank for someone else to walk. You are building bridges of memory not only for yourself, but for all who love you, and even for those you may never meet. The river flows, but the bridge remains. And because of it, we are never cut off from who we were. We are carried, connected, remembered. The bridge of memory endures. Not all rivers are calm. Sometimes beneath the surface, a whirlpool forms, circling endlessly, drawing everything toward its center. So it is with regret. It spins inside us, pulling us back again and again to the same place, the same thought, the same moment that cannot be undone. We all know these whirlpools, the words we should not have spoken, the silence we should have broken, the path we wish we had taken, or the one we wish we had avoided. Each becomes a vortex tugging at us whenever the current passes too close. Regret is heavy because it resists time. The river wants to carry everything forward, but regret clings circling, refusing to move on. It traps us in repetition, a loop of what ifs and if onlys. We tell ourselves the story again and again, hoping somehow the ending will change. But the river does not flow backward. It can only carry us forward. Think of standing on the edge of a whirlpool. The water moves in circles, but it goes nowhere. So too does the mind in regret, busy, restless, but unmoving. Exhaustion sets in because no progress is made, and yet it is hard to step away. The pull is strong. Why do regrets hold such power? Because they are born from love, from desire, from hope. We regret most not the things that were meaningless, but the things that mattered deeply. the friendship we lost, the kindness we failed to give, the moment we let slip away. Regret is the shadow of value. It shows what we cared for most. But though whirlpools are strong, they are not endless. Even the fiercest vortex eventually loses its force, disperses, and rejoins the current. So too can regret. If we stop fighting it, if we allow time to do its work, the circle weakens. The sharp pull becomes gentler. One day the water is smooth again. Consider how nature heals itself. A river may flood, may rage, may carve destruction into the land, but given time, grass grows again, trees return, balance is restored. Regret too heals, not by erasing the past, but by softening its hold on us. The whirlpool becomes a lesson, a story, a mark, but no longer a trap. There is a strange gift in regret. It reveals the truth of our humanity, that we are not perfect, that we stumble, that we sometimes fail to meet love with love. It humbles us. It teaches us tenderness toward ourselves and toward others. For if we regret it means we cared. And to care is never wasted. Some regrets we must learn to release. Others we must learn to carry with gentleness, like stones polished smooth. Not every sorrow can vanish, but it can be transformed. It can become wisdom, compassion, patience. What once drowned us can teach us how to swim. Imagine for a moment leaning over the water and seeing your reflection distorted by the whirlpool. It is broken, twisted, fragmented. But when the current calms, the reflection becomes whole again. So it is with us. We may feel broken by regret, but with time we see ourselves clearly once more. Do you have a regret that still pulls at you? A choice, a moment, a silence? Perhaps it visits you in the night, circling, circling. Let it be water, not chains. Let it teach you, not trap you. The river does not hold grudges. It remembers, yes, but it also carries. You too can let the current take it little by little until you are free. Regret will never vanish completely. It will always leave a trace. But traces are not prisons. They are reminders. They whisper, next time, choose with love. Next time, speak with honesty. Next time, hold what matters before it slips away. And so regret can become guide instead of jailer. It can become teacher instead of torment. The whirlpool shows us where the river is dangerous, so we may steer differently when we pass that way again. The circle becomes wisdom carved into the map of our hearts. Tonight, as you rest, let the whirlpools of regret be gentle. Do not fear them. Do not curse them. See them as signs of what you loved, what you hoped, what you desired, and then let them loosen. Let them spin more slowly. Let them dissolve until you are carried once more by the open current. The river flows forward. So must you. You cannot change the water already past, but you can shape the way you meet what is coming. Regret does not have to drown you. It can teach you how to live more fully, more softly, more present. Close your eyes. Release the circle. Let the whirlpool fade into the distance. The river remembers, but it also forgives. And in its flow, you are carried into peace. There is a moment when the day bends toward night, a moment neither fully light nor fully dark. It is called the golden hour. The air glows with softness, Shadows stretch long and gentle, and everything is touched with warmth, as if the sun is giving the world one last embrace. The golden hour is not long. It slips away almost as soon as it arrives. And yet it is enough. Enough to make us pause, enough to remind us that endings can be beautiful, that light can linger even as it fades. Time has many golden hours, not only in the sky, but in our lives. There are moments when everything feels touched by meaning, when ordinary things shine as if lit from within. A quiet conversation, a walk beneath autumn leaves, the silence of holding someone's hand. These are golden hours, too fleeting, yet eternal. What makes the golden hour so precious is not its duration, but its rarity. We cannot hold it. We cannot command it to stay. It appears, it blesses us, and it passes. But in passing, it leaves an imprint deeper than hours of ordinary time. Think of how the sun moves during this hour. Its light is lower, softer, filtered through the horizon. The harshness of noon is gone. What remains is gentle, forgiving. So it is with certain times in life. Youth burns bright, harsh, demanding, but with age, light softens. We learn tenderness. We learn to forgive. We learn to see beauty not in perfection, but in impermanence. This is the golden light of the soul. Photographers chase this hour because the world transforms under it. Colors glow, richer details sharpen, everything appears more alive. So too do we find our inner lives transformed in our golden hours. We see clearly what matters. We understand love more deeply. We realize that beauty does not last forever, and that is why it matters. The golden hour whispers a lesson about endings. It tells us that to fade is not to fail. The sun does not mourn its descent. It paints the world with glory as it leaves. So too can we, our endings, small or great, can be filled with grace. A goodbye can carry tenderness. A closing chapter can be lit with gratitude. Think of someone you once had to part from. Perhaps it was painful. Perhaps it still is. But maybe within that farewell, there was also light, something gentle, something beautiful even as it ended. That was a golden hour too brief, yet unforgettable. The golden hour also teaches us presence. Because it is short, we must notice it. We must stop, look, breathe, or else it will slip away unseen. So too in life, our most luminous moments are often brief, and they ask us only to be here fully while they last. And what of memory golden hours are often the ones we remember most vividly? The soft glow of childhood afternoons, the last words spoken by someone we loved, the quiet laughter shared when nothing else seemed certain. They remain shining within us long after the sun has set. Science tells us that golden hour light is unique because of the angle of the sun scattering blue wavelengths and letting warm tones dominate. But beyond physics, there is poetry. The earth itself is teaching us that perspective changes everything. At noon, the same sun feels harsh. At dusk, it feels tender. So too does time change with perspective. What once seemed unbearable may with years soften into something we treasure. The golden hour is proof that beauty lies not only in beginnings, but in endings. We celebrate dawn, but sunset holds its own truth. It tells us, do not fear the close of a day. Do not fear the bidding of light. There is wonder even in departure. There is love even in farewell. Tonight, as you close your eyes, imagine the world bathed in golden light. Imagine the river glowing its surface, catching fire as the sun lowers. Imagine the trees standing still, their leaves shimmering with quiet brilliance. Imagine yourself standing there, watching, breathing, knowing that this moment is enough. Let the golden hour remind you of the beauty in your own transitions, of the times you let go with grace, of the times you found tenderness and change, of the times you discovered that what is fleeting can still be eternal because it touched your soul. The golden hour cannot last forever, but it does not need to. Its gift is its brevity, its reminder that every moment is precious precisely because it passes. The sun sinks. The sky darkens, the stars awaken, and yet in your heart the glow remains. A golden thread woven into the fabric of your being. Close your eyes, let it shine within you. Let it soften the edges of your regrets, the sharpness of your fears. Let it hold you gently like the last embrace of light. This is the golden hour of your day. This is the golden hour of your life. Brief, beautiful, unforgettable, and it is enough. Every river begins small, a trickle of water sliding between stones, a stream hidden in the grass winding its way down a hill. It may seem fragile, insignificant, easy to ignore, and yet with time it gathers. Streams join streams, droplets join droplets, until they form something vast, until they find the ocean. So it is with our lives. Each of us begins as a single current, a thread of water moving quietly. Our moments may feel small, our choices simple, our days ordinary. But slowly, steadily, we gather, we merge with others, we carry stories, we flow into something greater than ourselves. Infinity is not reached all at once. It is built from countless streams, countless lives converging. Every person is a current, every thought a droplet, every memory a wave. Together we are carried into the vastness, into the ocean that has no end. Think of how rivers are formed. Rain falls from the sky, snow melts from the mountains, springs rise from deep within the earth. Each is a beginning. Each is a stream searching, flowing, moving toward connection. Not one stream is meaningless. Without them, the great rivers could not exist. Without them, the ocean would not be fed. The same is true of our days. One by one, they may feel small, but together they create the shape of a life. Together, they flow into eternity. Imagine standing where two rivers meet. You can see the colors of the waters mingling, swirling, learning to become one. So too are human lives merging, blending, creating something larger. We are never only ourselves. We are made of the streams that have touched us, of the currents we have joined. Infinity is not empty. It is filled with the waters of every stream that ever was. Your laughter, your sorrow, your kindness, your silence, all of it becomes part of the infinite ocean. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is lost. The stream you are continues always into something without boundary. This is why connection matters. Every word spoken to another is a meeting of streams. Every act of love is water joining water. Even pain, even conflict, even loss, all of it becomes part of the great flow, teaching the river how to move, how to change, how to endure. Science tells us that water on Earth is ancient, older than the mountains, older than the seas we know today. Some of it arrived from comets, some formed in the birth of the planet itself. It has moved in circles for billions of years, rain to river, river to ocean, ocean to sky. The water you drink tonight may once have flowed through glaciers or deserts or veins of forgotten creatures. It has always been here. It will always be here. Streams into infinity. So too with time. It does not vanish. It transforms. It bends, it merges, it carries. Every moment you have lived still flows, still joins, still becomes part of what is endless. Even when you feel small, you are part of something immeasurable. Consider the stars above you. Each star is a stream of light traveling outward without end. Some began shining billions of years ago, yet their light reaches you now, joining your eyes, joining your heart. Light, too, is a river flowing into infinity, and you, by seeing it, become part of that river. Do you feel small compared to infinity? Perhaps. But small is not the same as meaningless. A single stream may not be an ocean, but without streams there is no sea. Without you, infinity would not be whole. Your life, your flow, your current, it belongs. Infinity is not something waiting for you far away. It is something you are already inside. Right now, this breath, this heartbeat, this thought, it is already part of the endless flow. You are not separate from infinity. You are one of its streams. Tonight, imagine yourself as water, flowing, merging, carried. Imagine your joys, your regrets, your hopes, all dissolving, all joining, all becoming part of something vast. Feel how light it is to let go of being separate. Feel how peaceful it is to be carried endlessly without needing to resist. The streams do not fear infinity. They are made for it. They long for it. They run toward it with every drop, every turn, every fall. So too does your soul. It is running, flowing, yearning for the ocean of forever. Close your eyes, hear the current, feel yourself drifting, joining, becoming. You are not ending, you are continuing endlessly into the infinite. The river flows, the streams join, and you are part of it all, always, already, forever. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the river holding its breath, the current slowing the air, pausing between words. It carries a weight soft yet immense, pressing against us in ways we cannot always explain. There are moments when silence feels heavy, a conversation halted by unspoken truth, a room filled with what lingers unsaid, the stillness after goodbye. These silences are not empty. They are full, swollen with meaning, too deep for words. The river knows silence. Beneath the surface, water moves without a sound. Even when the world above is still, the current flows quietly, faithfully, unseen. Silence does not mean nothing is happening. It means the work is happening beneath the hidden patient. We often fear silence. We rush to fill it with words, with noise, with movement. But silence is not a void to escape. It is a depth to enter. The weight of silence is the weight of truth, of presence, of being. Think of the silence of night, when the world slows, when voices fade, when only the pulse of your own heart remains. It is not loneliness, it is clarity. It is the river reminding you that existence itself is enough even without sound, even without explanation. There are silences that heal. Sitting beside someone without speaking, sharing breath instead of words. Walking in a forest where trees say nothing, yet everything. Watching stars where silence is the language of the infinite. These silences soothe us, remind us that not all connection needs words. There are silences that wound. The silence of absence when someone you love is no longer there. The silence of rejection when your voice is not answered. The silence of regret when the chance to speak has already passed. These are heavy silences, pulling us down, pressing on our hearts. Yet even they are part of the current. Even they can be carried, softened, transformed. The weight of silence teaches us to listen, not just to sounds, but to spaces. Between each note of music, there is silence, and without it, the song would collapse. Between each breath, there is silence, and without it, life could not continue. Silence is not the absence of rhythm, it is part of rhythm itself. In science, silence is never absolute. Even in the quietest room, particles move, atoms vibrate, blood flows in your veins. True silence does not exist, and yet the attempt to reach it teaches us something profound, that life hums even when we do not hear it, that the universe speaks even when no sound is made. Sometimes silence is a teacher. It tells us when words are unnecessary, when presence is enough. It tells us when to stop speaking and start feeling. It tells us that wisdom is often quiet, that love is often unspoken. Imagine standing by a river at dusk. The water moves but softly, barely a murmur. The silence around it is not empty. It is alive, filled with every drop, every shimmer, every reflection. So too is the silence within you alive, filled with every memory, every thought, every breath. Do you carry a silence within you now? Something you have not said, something you cannot say. Feel its weight. Do not run from it. Let it rest in you like a stone in the riverbed. With time, the current will soften it. With time, the silence will teach you. There is also the silence of awe, standing before mountains, looking into the night sky, watching the ocean stretch without end. Words collapse and silence takes their place. This silence is not heavy. It is light, expansive, infinite. It lifts us, reminding us that some truths can only be felt, never spoken. Tonight, let the weight of silence surround you gently. Let it hold you instead of frighten you. Let it press not as a burden, but as an embrace. Silence is not your enemy. It is part of the song of time. It is the pause that makes the music whole. Close your eyes, breathe into the silence, feel its depth, feel its presence. It is not empty. It is not absence. It is fullness waiting, carrying, holding you. The river flows, the silence waits, and together they remind you you are not alone. Even in silence, you are carried. Even in stillness, you are part of the endless song. Tomorrow does not yet exist, and yet it casts a shadow. We feel it before it arrives like a chill, before the wind like a ripple, before the stone falls. The shadow of tomorrow reaches into today, shaping our choices, stirring our thoughts, haunting our hearts. This is the paradox of time. We cannot touch the future, yet it touches us. We cannot step into it, yet we live with its presence every moment. The shadow of tomorrow stretches across the river, pulling at the current, whispering of what may come. Sometimes the shadow feels light, a hope, a dream, a promise. We look toward tomorrow with eagerness, with joy, with the sense that something beautiful is waiting. The shadow then is not heavy, but gentle, like shade on a summer day, comforting and cool. Other times the shadow is dark. It presses on our chests with worry, with dread, with questions that have no answer. We imagine storms, losses, endings, and in doing so we suffer them before they even arrive. The shadow of tomorrow can become heavier than tomorrow itself. Why do we live so much in this shadow? Because the human mind is a bridge builder. It cannot help but imagine the next shore, the next bend, the next horizon. We are creatures of foresight, born to prepare, to anticipate. It is both our gift and our burden. But the shadow of tomorrow is not so. It is only possibility. It is only imagination painted on the canvas of the present. Sometimes it is accurate, often it is not. Yet it shapes us all the same, because the mind responds not only to reality, but also to the pictures it creates. Think of how the body reacts to fear. A shadow moves, and the heart races as if danger is certain. Yet often the shadow is only a branch, a cloud, a harmless flicker. So too with tomorrow. The shadows may frighten us, but most will never become real. The river teaches us differently. It does not chase shadows, it flows. It moves through light and dark alike, carrying itself forward, regardless of what might be waiting. The river trusts its course, trusts the ocean, trusts the endlessness. So too can we. Hope lives in the shadow of tomorrow as much as fear does. For just as we imagine loss, we also imagine joy. We dream of love, of laughter, of beauty yet to come. These shadows are soft, luminous, guiding us toward growth. They remind us that tomorrow may hold treasures we cannot yet see. Science reminds us that tomorrow is not fixed. It is shaped by countless possibilities, by choices unfolding in every moment. Quantum physics tells us that the future is not a single line, but a field of potential collapsing into reality only when it arrives. So the shadows we see are not destiny. They are guesses, glimpses, echoes of what might be. And yet, even knowing this, we still feel them. Because to be human is to stand in both today and tomorrow at once, to live with memory on one side and shadow on the other. We are stretched between shores, and sometimes the weight is heavy. What do we do then with the shadows of tomorrow? We can learn to see them, but not to be ruled by them. We can acknowledge their presence, but return to the river flowing now. We can use them as guides, but not as chains. Think of planting a seed. Tomorrow's shadow is in that seed in the image of what it may become. But to reach it, you must water it today. Tend it today, love it today. The shadow guides you, but the present sustains you. Sometimes tomorrow's shadow inspires courage. We imagine a better self, a brighter path, a healed world. And that vision shapes how we move now, even if the exact tomorrow never arrives. The act of moving toward it transforms today. Other times, the shadow teaches surrender. We realize we cannot control everything ahead, that uncertainty is the nature of the river. We learn to rest in the current, to trust its course. We learn to let the shadow exist without letting it consume us. Do you feel a shadow of tomorrow now? Something waiting, something looming, something calling. Let it be there. Do not fight it. Do not cling to it. Let it pass across your present like a cloud across the water. It does not change the river itself. Tonight, as you drift toward sleep, notice the shadows that rise in you. Notice the hopes, the fears, the questions of tomorrow. Then let them soften. Let them blur. Let them rest where they belong in possibility, not in certainty. The river flows into tomorrow regardless. It does not need you to solve the future before it arrives. It only asks you to flow, to breathe, to trust. Tomorrow will come. Its shadows will change, its light will shift, its truth will reveal itself. But tonight you are here in the gentle current of now. Close your eyes. Let tomorrow's shadows drift away. Let today's water hold you. The river carries both light and shadow, both today and tomorrow. And in its flow you are safe. Stone is hard, but water is patient. Given enough time, the strongest rock crumbles. The tallest mountain wears down, the sharpest edge smooths into a curve. This is the erosion of days, the slow, steady shaping of all things by the passage of time. At first it seems invisible. One drop cannot carve a canyon, one day cannot transform a life. But drop after drop, day after day, change becomes undeniable. The river leaves its mark not through violence, but through persistence. Our lives are carved the same way. We may not notice the passing of days, the small moments, the tiny choices, but they shape us more than sudden storms. The erosion of days is quiet, but it is relentless. It sculpts us, softens us, teaches us. Think of your face in the mirror. Lines appear slowly, shadows deepen, hair changes color. Each change is a mark left by the river of time, a gentle erosion. It does not destroy, it transforms. It tells the story of every smile, every sorrow, every sleepless night, every moment of wonder. Think of the buildings around you. They too carry the erosion of days. Stone wears paint, fades, wood bends. What was once new becomes old, and in its aging, it gains character, memory, soul. The erosion of days does not erase it, records. Even the mountains are not eternal. Wind, rain, snow, and sun carve them slowly grain by grain. What seems immovable is already in motion. The erosion of days is the handwriting of time across the earth. And so it is with us. Our habits repeated shape the channels of our lives. What we choose daily becomes who we are. Kindness repeated becomes compassion. Neglect repeated becomes emptiness. The erosion of days writes upon us all with a pen that never stops. Sometimes this erosion feels cruel. We see strength fade. We feel youth slip. We watch people we love change and vanish. It hurts because we long for permanence. But permanence is not the law of rivers. Flow is the law. Change is the law. And within change, there is a deeper kind of beauty. For erosion also creates. Canyons carved by rivers are breathtaking. Valleys worn by glaciers become fertile. Coastlines shaped by tides sparkle with life. So too can the erosion of days reveal new depths in us. Softness where once was hardness. Wisdom where once was ignorance. Tenderness where once was fear. Do you remember the person you were 10 years ago? Different, perhaps unrecognizable in some ways. And yet the erosion of days shaped you gently into who you are now. Not through sudden upheaval, but through quiet persistence. This is the gift hidden within change, that we are sculpted into forms we could not have imagined. Science teaches us that even the hardest materials yield to time. Atoms decay, molecules shift. Nothing remains untouched. Entropy. The slow unraveling is written into the fabric of the universe. Yet from this new forms arise. Erosion is not only ending, it is becoming. There is humility in recognizing this. We are not fixed statues. We are rivers and stones, at once shaped and shaping, eroding and enduring. We live in motion even when we feel still. And because of this, life is never stagnant. Sometimes the erosion of days feels like loss. We mourn what is gone, the freshness of youth, the strength of bodies, the nearness of those we loved. But in mourning, we may also learn gratitude. For nothing was guaranteed, nothing was promised. The very fact that we held it for a time is miracle enough. The erosion of days does not take without also giving. Think of a parent's hands worn from work. Think of a grandparent's smile lined with years of laughter. Think of a city wall weathered by storms yet still standing. All of these carry beauty, not despite erosion, but because of it. Do you feel the erosion of days within yourself? The tiredness, the weight, the shifting. Let it not frighten you. It is not only decay, it is transformation. It is your soul being shaped into something deeper, softer, wiser. The river teaches us this. The sharpest stone becomes smooth in its hands, not by force, but by endless touch. So too are we softened by days. So too are we taught by time. Tonight as you rest, think of the erosion of your own days. Think of what you have lost, but also what you have gained. Think of the valleys carved in your heart, the canyons in your memory, the smoothness in your soul. You are not the same as you once were, and that is not tragedy. That is growth. The erosion of days is not the end of the story. It is the shaping of the story. It is the mark of time's hand upon you, gentle, patient, unyielding. Close your eyes. Let the river carve softly. Let the days shape you. Do not fear the erosion. It is the poetry of time. It is the current whispering always that you are alive. The stone endures, but the water endures longer. And through their meeting, beauty is born. A river is not only water and current, it is also a mirror. It gathers light, it gathers sky, it gathers faces leaning close. It returns what it receives, but never exactly as it was. It shows you yourself, but only if you are willing to look gently. Stand by the bank at dusk. The world quiets, clouds drift like slow caravans. Your reflection appears, trembles, reforms, disappears, returns. You are there and not there, present and changing, whole and rippling. This is how time shows us who we are. It does not hand us a photograph fixed and certain. It offers a living mirror, a surface that moves with wind and thought and feeling. On some days, the water is glass and you see yourself clearly. On others, the surface breaks into 1,000 shards and your face is only a suggestion. Both are true, both are you. The mirror of the river teaches humility. It reminds you that identity is not a statue. You are a pattern carried by a current, a constellation of memories lit by passing light. You are not the same from moment to moment, yet an echo persists, a melody continuing beneath every change. When the mind demands one final answer, who am I? The river answers by shimmering. You are this, it says, and also this, and also what you have not yet become. Look at the moon on the water. The moon is far, but the mirror brings it near. The silver path lies across the surface, a road made of light that your hand can touch, but never hold. So it is with wonder. So it is with love. Reflection lets you feel what cannot be possessed. When the wind rises, the mirror breaks. Waves scatter the image into fragments. You might think the truth is lost, but truth does not live only in stillness. It also lives in motion. If you soften your gaze, you can see the face within the tremble, the shape within the scattering. Clarity is not always sharpness. Sometimes clarity is acceptance. Do you remember the first time you noticed your reflection, a window at night? A spoon turned to a tiny oval face, a quiet lake holding the sky. Every reflection was a different you, and yet something in them all recognized itself. The river keeps that recognition safe. It holds the thread connecting every different face you have worn. Science says reflection is a dance of angles and surfaces. Light arrives, light departs, obeying simple laws. But even in the law, there is wonder. A slight tilt changes everything. A single leaf upon the water turns a clean portrait into a story. So too does the slightest choice change the picture of a life. A word spoken softly, a pause before anger, a kindness you almost forgot to offer. Tiny angles, vast reflections. The mirror of the river is honest, but it is not cruel. It shows what is there and how it is touched by the world. If your heart is stormed, your image is troubled. If your breath grows steady, the surface settles. What you see is not only your face, but your weather. This is not judgment. It is information. It is a way to listen without words. There are days when you cannot bear to look. The past leans over your shoulder. The future stands behind your back. Their shadows mix upon the water, and you do not know where to place your eyes. When that happens, step closer. Cup your hands, lift a small bowl of river to your face. Inside that trembling bowl is only now cold, bright, immediate. Sip it, return it, let the mirror move through you instead of you moving through it. We treat mirrors as devices for checking, correcting, controlling. The river will not serve these purposes. It refuses to freeze for us. It insists that the living be viewed as living. Here is your face, it says, but do not hold it too tightly. Here is your feeling, it says, but let it change. Here is your story, it says, but allow more pages. At night, stars gather on the water. An ordinary river becomes a sky. It is not a metaphor. It is an event. The universe meets itself upon the surface and nods in recognition. You are part of that nod. You are a spark looking at sparks, a wave looking at waves. To see your reflection under stars is to suspect a secret that what looks back at you is older than your name. You can test this gently. Let memory rise like a fish. Let regret pass like a cloud. Let hope shine like a lantern. Watch how the mirror holds them all without preference. It does not keep it, does not refuse. It reflects, and in reflecting, it frees. If you practice this kind of seeing, you begin to meet yourself with the river's patience. Oh, you say, I am this today. How beautiful, how temporary. Sometimes the water clears only after we stop trying. We stand very still, breathe very slowly, allow the silt to settle. This is what meditation asks, a kindness of waiting, not forcing the image, letting the river decide when to become a mirror again. What returns then is never perfect, but it is honest enough to comfort. There is a deeper lesson, too. The mirror does not exist apart from the scene. There is no reflection without the face, no face without the light, no light without the world that shines. We are made in relation. We are most ourselves when we are meeting. The river shows this with every ripple that touches every other ripple. You are yourself, and you are also the touch of others upon you. To love is to change the water in which someone sees themselves. To be loved is to find your reflection softened with gold. The mirror of the river can be a guide in sorrow. When grief bends you over the bank, the water will not turn away. It will carry your tears and show you the sky. It will tell you without speaking that both can exist at once. Weight and light, loss and horizon. When the world feels too heavy to lift, lift only one image at a time. The leaf, the stick, the star, and let that be enough for now. It can be a guide in joy as well. Joy wants to rush to overflow, to run faster than the banks can hold. Let the mirror slow it. Let the reflection teach celebration without clinging. Look, it says, how beautiful this light is upon your face. Look, and then let it pass into evening with gratitude. If you are afraid of what you will see, remember this. The mirror is kinder than your judgment. It does not label, it does not measure, it does not compare you to yesterday's water or tomorrow's storm. It only offers what is. You do not have to approve of the picture to accept the truth of it. And acceptance is a quiet bridge toward peace. The river never asks you to be still forever. It asks you to be still enough to see. It never asks you to hold the image forever. It asks you to let the image go when the wind returns. In this way, the mirror becomes movement, and the movement becomes mirror. You become less frightened of changing and more curious about what appears next. Close your eyes now and imagine kneeling at the water's edge. The air is cool. Somewhere an owl speaks once and is silent. You lean forward and the night leans with you. Your reflection glides toward your face, pauses, opens like a door. You step through not into the water, but into the calm that lives under it. Here names loosen. Here time widens. Here the revere and the mirror and the one who looks are all the same quiet thing. When you rise, you carry that quiet with you. You walk back toward your bed, toward your breathing, toward your sleep. The mirror remains on the bank, but its lesson follows. You can be soft without breaking. You can be changing without being lost. You can be many versions of yourself and still be true. The river will still be there in the morning. Sun will lay its coins of light upon the surface. Birds will write small sentences upon the air. If you return, then you will see another reflection, another weather, another sky, another you. Do not mourn the difference. Let it be a blessing. Let it be proof that life continues to meet itself in 1,000 gentle ways. And if someday you cannot find your face at all, if the water is too dark or your eyes are too full, place your palm on the surface. Feel how the mirror yields but does not break. Feel how it accepts your touch without question. Then take your hand away and watch the circles widen, carrying your warmth outward into the world. This too is a reflection. This too is you. When the time comes to sleep, the mirror of the river closes like a book, but the story remains. It waits for your return. It waits for your light. It waits to show you again and again that you are both the water and the sky, both the face and the gaze, both the question and the calm answer given by the current. Rest now. The river is ready to hold you. The mirror is ready to soften you. What you are is enough for tonight. What you will be can wait for morning. Every river has a meeting place, a bend where one stream greets another, a confluence where currents merge, where waters touch and do not turn away. Here, the river grows wider, stronger, more complex. Here, stories become one. So it is with lives. We are not solitary flows sealed within our own banks. We meet again and again with other streams, sometimes gently, like two brooks murmuring together in a meadow, sometimes violently, like torrents colliding after a storm. But always something new is born from the meeting. Think of the people you have known. Some brushed against you only briefly, leaving ripples that faded almost at once. Others poured into you, fully changing your depth, your direction, your very nature. Each was a confluence, each was a joining that shaped the river you are now. The science of rivers tells us that confluences create turbulence. Waters mix unevenly, whirls, and eddies form particles shift. It can take miles before the river finds balance again. Human lives are no different. When we meet another deeply, the flow is disturbed. It takes time to settle, but in the end, we are larger than we were before. There are gentle confluences, friendships shared, laughter, brief kindnesses, they widen us softly. And there are powerful confluences, love, family partnerships that alter us forever. We carry their waters long after the moment has passed. Even when people leave, their current remains within us inseparable. The river does not ask permission before joining. It simply flows, merging where paths cross. So it is with destiny. So it is with chance. The ones you meet become part of you, whether for a season or a lifetime. There are confluences that feel painful, waters that clash, incompatible currents that create storms. Yet even these leave their mark. Even these carve lessons, shaping the banks, teaching us resilience, guiding us toward gentler paths. And there are confluences that feel like miracles. Two lives meeting as if they were always meant to merge. Conversations that flow effortlessly. Hands that fit like rivers running side by side. These moments remind us that the universe itself is a confluence, that stars matter, breath and love all came together to create this single instant. Do you remember the great confluences of your life? The day you first met someone who mattered. The moment a stranger's kindness redirected your steps. The quiet merging of your story with another's until you could not tell where one ended and the other began. These are not accidents, they are the shape of the river. At night, when you recall the voices that have touched you, it is as if you are standing at a great meeting of waters. Each voice a current, each memory a tributary. Together they flow into you and you into them. You are not one river alone. You are an entire confluence of countless streams. Even those who are gone remain part of your current. Love does not vanish when the source disappears. It continues carried forward, woven into your depth. This is why we sometimes dream of them, why we feel their presence in silence. Their water is still here, running through us. Science tells us that rivers once joined cannot be fully separated again. The molecules mix, and though you can trace colors for a while, eventually they blend into one. So too with human hearts. Once they meet, they carry something of each other forever. You are not only yourself, you are every confluence you have ever known. Imagine now the confluence of humanity itself. Billions of lives flowing, touching, merging across time. Every culture, every story, every kindness, every cruelty, all part of one great river. From afar, it looks like chaos. Up close, it feels overwhelming. But step back, soften your gaze, and you see the pattern unity born of countless meetings. This is why compassion matters. Every act you give enters the river and it flows outward endlessly, touching shores you will never see. Every cruelty too enters, but so does every forgiveness. What we pour into each other never stays still. It carries, joins, multiplies. Do you see the beauty in this? You are not alone. You never were. Even in solitude, you are water shaped by thousands of encounters. Even in silence, you are speaking with every stream that ever touched yours. Tonight, let yourself remember one confluence that changed you. Feel again the merging, the widening, the deepening. Let gratitude rise, even if it was not easy, even if it left turbulence behind. The river you are today carries it all, and because of it, you are greater. The confluence is not the end. It is the beginning of a new current. It is the proof that separation is illusion, that connection is the law of rivers, the law of lives. Close your eyes, hear the waters meeting, feel the currents within you. You are not a single drop, not a single flow. You are confluences endlessly merging, endlessly carried into infinity. Every song carries silence at its end. Every day carries darkness at its close. Every river carries itself toward the sea. There is a rhythm to endings, a music so quiet that we often mistake it for loss. But endings are not the opposite of beginnings. They are part of the same rhythm, the downbeat to the upbeat, the breath out after the breath in. Without endings, nothing could hold its shape. Without endings, there could be no stories, no songs, no lives worth living. The river shows us this truth. Each bend, each fall, each slowing is an ending, but none of them is final. They are pauses, transitions, shifts in rhythm. The current does not die. It changes pace. It finds new direction. It carries forward. Think of the sunset. The sun sinks. The sky glows. The light fades. It is an ending, yes, but it is also a preparation, a prelude to stars, to rest, to dreams. The rhythm of endings is not silence, but transformation. It is a doorway disguised as a closing. We often fear endings because they remind us of mortality. Friendships end, chapters close, seasons turn. We cling, we resist, we grieve. And yet, if we listen closely, endings are not shouts, they are whispers. They say, rest now. They say, make space. They say, trust the next note. In music, the final chord lingers. It vibrates in the air even after it is played, filling the silence with memory. So too do endings linger in us. We carry the echo of what has closed, and sometimes the echo is more powerful than the event itself. Science reminds us that nothing truly disappears. Energy changes form, matter shifts state, but loss is an illusion of perception. When something ends, it transforms into what carries on. Ash into soil, breath into air, love into memory. The rhythm continues. Think of the times you have said goodbye, the ache in your chest, the reluctance in your steps, the silence that follows. And yet somewhere beneath there is rhythm, your life moving forward, your heart opening again, your spirit learning to trust the flow. Endings wound, but they also move us into new tempos. There are gentle endings, like closing a book with satisfaction, like finishing a song with a smile. And there are sharp endings, sudden, unwanted tearing, but all endings belong to the rhythm of time. The gentle ones teach us gratitude. The sharp ones teach us resilience. Together they remind us that we are dancers, not statues. We are meant to move with the song. The river's rhythm is steady. It narrows, widens, twists, slows, but always it continues. The ocean waits not as a punishment, but as a fulfillment. Every ending in the river is also a beginning of sea. Every goodbye is also a hello to something larger. Do you notice how trees shed leaves each year? It is an ending that makes room for growth. Do you notice how sleep closes the day? It is an ending that makes room for dreaming. Do you notice how silence closes speech? It is an ending that makes room for meaning. The rhythm of endings is not about erasing, it is about renewing. Sometimes endings feel cruel because they come before we are ready. A life cut short, a chapter unfinished, a love unspoken. But even here, the rhythm does not stop. It continues in the stories told in the memories, kept in the ripples of every action that touched another. What ends in one form continues in another. The rhythm only changes its instrument. There is a tenderness in accepting this rhythm. We do not have to love every ending, but we can honor them. We can place them gently on the river, let them float away, trust that they are being carried somewhere meaningful. Grief is the heart's way of keeping time with endings. Tears are part of the rhythm, as necessary as laughter. And there is also beauty. The last brushstroke on a painting, the last note of a song, the last line of a poem, these give shape to the whole. Without the end, the beginning would have no frame, the middle, no tension, the story, no meaning. The rhythm of endings completes what was begun. Tonight, as you lie in stillness, listen for this rhythm. Hear how your breath rises and falls. Each exhale is an ending, each inhale a beginning. You have lived thousands of endings today, and yet here you are carried forward. The rhythm sustains you. Do not fear the sea at the end of your river. It is not destruction, but embrace. It is not silence, but symphony. The rhythm of endings is the rhythm of belonging, of returning, of dissolving into something vast and kind. Close your eyes now. Think of one ending you have lived. Let it rest in your chest like a final note. Let it vibrate, let it soften, let it teach you. You do not have to push it away, it is part of your music. The river carries you onward. The rhythm continues. Endings are not the dark, they are the dusk before stars. They are the breath before another begins. They are the hush that lets the song be heard more clearly. Rest in this rhythm. Trust its flow. The endings of today are only the beginnings of tomorrow's song. The river has no true ending. It widens, it slows, it mingles with the sea, but the current remains. The flow continues, unseen, unstoppable, eternal. This is the nature of time. We speak of beginnings and endings, but they are only shapes we draw upon the surface. The deeper truth is flow without start, without finish, without final pause. Stand at the shore where the river meets the ocean. The line is not clear. Fresh water and salt water swirl currents, fold into each other, identities blur. What was a river becomes the sea, and yet the river still exists, carried forward within the ocean's vastness. So it is with us. When we meet eternity, we do not vanish. We widen. The eternal flow is not a destination. It is a presence. It is here now in this breath, in this heartbeat, in this thought. Every drop of time you touch is already part of forever. Eternity is not something you must wait for. It is something you are already inside. Think of water rising into clouds. It does not cease to be water. It becomes sky. Think of clouds falling as rain. They do not cease to be sky. They become river again. The eternal flow is transformation, never destruction. The circle continues endlessly, without beginning or end. We often long for permanence, fearing that flow means loss. But permanence is not what grants life meaning. Meaning is born in movement, in the knowledge that nothing is wasted, that everything is carried forward. Your laughter is not gone, it moves through memory. Your kindness is not lost, it ripples outward. Your love is not wasted, it becomes part of the current that will touch countless shores. Science tells us energy cannot be destroyed. It changes form, but it continues. So too with us. So too with every life. The eternal flow is written into the laws of the universe. Nothing ends. Everything transforms. At night, look at the stars. Their light left millions of years ago, yet it still travels, still touches you now. You are seeing the past and the present. You are witnessing the eternal flow of light. Time itself is like this. What has passed is still here. In waves, what will come is already whispering within the present. The eternal flow teaches us trust. We do not need to hold tightly to every moment, every person, every story. They are not gone. They are flowing. They are not lost. They are moving. The current carries them beyond our sight, but not beyond existence. Think of your own life. The moments you thought were final, were they truly endings? The goodbye that taught you love's depth. The loss that opened your heart to compassion. The silence that revealed a hidden song. Each was carried into something larger. Each was transformed into a note in the eternal symphony. The eternal flow also teaches us humility. We are not separate from it. We are part of it. Just as a drop cannot exist apart from the river, we cannot exist apart from time. We belong to it, and it belongs to us. When we surrender to this, peace arises. We no longer fear the current. We trust it. Imagine yourself as a single drop falling into the river. At first, you are distinct, shebang, trembling. Then you merge, you widen, you join. Do you lose yourself? No, you expand. You become river. You become sea. You become sky. This is not loss. It is belonging. Eternity is not far away. It is the river under your feet, the breath in your chest, the stars above your head. It is the flow that connects all things, the living and the dead, the present and the past, the seen and the unseen. The eternal flow is the whisper of the universe itself, saying nothing is wasted, nothing is forgotten, everything belongs. Tonight as you rest, let the eternal flow carry you. Let it take your fears, your regrets, your longings, and dissolve them into the wide ocean. Let it remind you that you are more than this moment, more than this body, more than this name. You are the current itself, endless, eternal. Close your eyes, feel the water within you, the blood, the breath, the quiet pulse. Feel how it moves, never stopping, never ending. You are already part of forever. You always were. You always will be. The river widens, the current carries, the eternal flow continues, and you are within it, always, always, always.